mentioned the state government.
All right. I mean, Akshay, I'll come back to you, but we've got breaking news coming in right now. Government here has invoked ESMA to ensure the LPG supply orders refineries to divert some key streams. So what we're looking at essentially is government now taking steps to ensure that India is not staring at an energy crisis here. The ESMA, in fact, has been invoked to ensure the LPG supply. Orders, refineries have also been given to divert some key streams. Now, that's the breaking news we're getting at this point, viewers, regarding the energy crisis that could, in fact, India is staring at right now. Government here has invoked ESMA to ensure the LPG supply is maintained, and it has also issued orders to refineries to divert some key streams. That's the breaking update we're picking up as far as energy security is concerned in India. Government now invoking ESMA to ensure that there is enough LPG supply given to consumers all across the country. Now, viewers, this comes as the war in West Asia has entered its day 11. We're looking at attacks on oil infrastructure all across the Gulf countries. Strait of Hormuz is blocked, so potentially triggering an energy crisis all around the world. And we're looking at Government of India taking some steps as well to mitigate that crisis. The latest is ESMA has now been invoked to ensure there's enough LPG supply across the country. Orders have also been issued to oil refineries to divert a key stream. So this is essentially government now triggering ESMA to ensure that there's enough LPG supply, while also giving orders to oil refineries to divert key streams. That's the latest step that's been taken by the Government of India as far as steps are concerned to mitigate the energy crisis that the world at large is now staring at, given the war in West Asia, which has entered its day 11. Now, viewers, we have been looking at attacks on oil infrastructure all across the Gulf countries. Oil depots were attacked recently. Saudi's Aramco, Bahrain's Bapco, all in fact have come under recent attacks. Strait of Hormuz also remains blocked. So this has now triggered energy crisis all across the world. An Indian government now taking steps to mitigate that crisis. Right now, ESMA, in fact, has been invoked to ensure that there's enough LPG supply for domestic use all across the country. Orders have also been issued to oil refineries to divert some key streams. Now, remember, before this, the Government of India had clearly mentioned that as far as energy security is concerned, India sits in a comfortable position. Its stocks are being replenished on a daily basis. But of course, India also imports a considerable amount from the Gulf. Most of it passes through Strait of Hormuz, which now stands blocked. So, of course, oil supplies are going to be impacted, and now government taking more and more steps to mitigate that crisis at hand. In the latest, ESMA has now been invoked to ensure that there is enough LPG supply. Oil refineries have also been given orders to ensure that they are diverting the key streams. That's the latest that has come in as far as steps concerned by the Indian government to mitigate the energy crisis. In fact, ESMA is the Essential Services Maintenance Act. It is designed to ensure that there is uninterrupted supply of vital services. It could include healthcare, transport, electricity, but here, of course, it's concerned with energy. So it's a vital step taken by the government to invoke this act, Essential Services Maintenance Act, to ensure that there is enough LPG supplies by the government. In fact, at this point, now viewers, we're already looking at, due to non-availability of gas, several hotels have been impacted. They have closed down across the country from Mumbai to Chennai. This is the commercial LPG situation is what we're looking at. And as India also stares at energy crisis, Government of India has now invoked ESMA, which is essentially the Essential Services Maintenance Act. It is a law designed to ensure uninterrupted supply of vital services during, of course, extraordinary situations. So now, Government of India here has invoked ESMA to ensure that there is LPG supply all across the country. They have also issued orders to several refineries to divert their key streams, which is to ensure that there is consistent supply of LPG across the country. Now, Government of India here has laid down its priorities, saying that domestic use will in fact be prioritized to ensure that there is no shortage on the domestic use front as far as LPG is concerned. And in the latest, to ensure and to mitigate the energy crisis that India now stares at due to the war in West Asia, Government of India is now invoking Essential Services Maintenance Act to ensure that there is enough supply of LPG across the country. This is what we're looking at, viewers. And in fact, orders have also been issued to oil refineries. Now, viewers, to give you a bit of context to this crisis, we're looking at oil depots, oil refineries, oil facilities being hit all across the Gulf nations, which is exactly the primary source of oil and gas across the world. And now, because of these latest attacks, we're also getting you visuals of those attacks taking place in Tehran. This was the latest strike on oil depots in the capital city of Iran. And now, as these attacks continue and the war in West Asia enters its day 11, world over, we have seen oil prices rising, though it has now come down to $92 per barrel. It reached almost $120 per barrel yesterday. And it is only after Donald Trump's statement that the war could end soon. Now prices have come down marginally. So due to those attacks on oil facilities and the Strait of Hormuz also becoming a war zone, Government of India has now invoked ESMA. My colleague Niranjan now joins me on this. Niranjan, India is now staring at energy crisis, the world at large, and Government of India now taking a step to ensure and to mitigate this crisis. It has invoked ESMA. Give us more details about this.
Okay, there's a small correction. First of all, it's not ESMA, it's Essential Commodities Act. So there's a small correction there. We'll make that correction. It's the Essential Commodities Act. And this has been invoked right now, and we have the notification with us. It's an order from the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, which has invoked special powers and emergency powers to regulate the supply of petroleum products, including LPG. And it goes into details of regulating production, supply and distribution. Essentially, the Commodities Act, the Essential Commodities Act ensures that this sector is now prioritized, and as per the Essential Commodities Act, the regulation of production, the central government is going to ensure that they will maintain supplies, secure equitable distribution, and ensure that there is availability of natural gas for priority sectors. And the priority sectors are designated as follows. Domestic pipe natural gas supply is a prioritized sector. Compressed natural gas for transport is a priority sector. LPG production, including LPG shrinkage requirements, now a priority sector. And pipeline compressor fuel and other essential pipeline operational requirements is now put under priority sector. Now, why is this important? It's important because the government has realized that there is going to be some bit of an LPG crunch in the aftermath of the war that is broken out in the Middle East. And daily, the Petroleum Minister, who's been holding a briefing, has been telling the media about the steps being taken to ensure that we have enough stocks and supplies. Now, one of the concern areas has been around LPG. We've seen across the country different bodies come out, especially hotel bodies, saying that they're not being able to get supplies of LPG, and that could hit operations of hotels, restaurants, and allied businesses. Now, on that front, there is a concern that there is going to be an LPG crunch, mainly given that Qatar Energy is the world's largest LPG manufacturer, and Qatar's Qatar Energy, this company was also hit by one of the drones by Iran in the last few days. And given that attack, they have suspended all supplies across the world. And given the blockage of the Strait of Hormuz, the entire supply chain disrupted, it is going to be a difficult situation for India. So in that sense, the government has stepped in now, and they have taken a few steps to ensure that there is adequate supply. And they have, as a starting point, maybe invoked the Emergency Commodities, Essential Commodities Act. Now, they've identified 3 or 4 priority sectors. First being LPG. gas, natural gas, pipe gas. Sector 2, supply of natural gas to fertilizer plants shall ensure 70% of their past 6 average gas consumption subject to operational availability. Priority Sector 3, the gas marketing entities shall ensure that gas supply to tea industries, manufacturing and other industrial consumer supply through natural gas grid is maintained at 80% of their past 6-month average gas consumption subject to operational availability. And finally, there's a priority sector 4, which is the all-city gas distribution, which will ensure that industrial and commercial consumers supplied through their networks receive 80% of their past 6-month average gas consumption subject to operational availability. And there is gas redistribution, wherein gas companies are also being told how to ensure that the gas distribution is maintained and so that there is no shortage as such. So I think priority sector, they've put out the priority sectors. This is going to impact most Indians, so I'm going to repeat that. Priority sector 1, supply of natural gas will be treated as priority, and it is going to be subject to operational availability to 100% of the average past 6-month average gas consumption. I'm going to break it down. If it's 100%, that means if you have been on an average getting 1 gas cylinder every month, you will continue to get that until stocks last. That is what it means. Priority sector 2, the supply of natural gas to the fertilizer plant shall ensure 70% of their past 6-month average gas consumption. So fertilizer plants, they will get only about 70% of the last 6-month average. Priority sector 3, gas marketing entities will ensure supply to tea industries, manufacturing, industrial consumers. They will get natural gas to the natural gas grid, and that is going to be maintained at 80% of the last 6-month average. So if they were getting 100 units every month, they're going to get only 80 units every month. So that's being rationed. And priority sector 4, the city gas distribution to industrial commercial consumers, and that is at 80% of the last 6-month average. So I'll repeat that. Priority sector 1, to homes, for domestic consumers, nothing changes. It continues to remain the same, except there is a little bit of a change on how often or how frequently you can buy cylinders, because there is also a fear that people may be hoarding cylinders, buying excess and hoarding cylinders, and that is going to be stopped right now. And secondly, for consumers, industrial consumers, it is being rationed to between 70 to 80%. There is no disruption as such. Essential Commodities Act has been brought in to ensure that it is rationed in such a way that we don't fall short. Ishita.
Right, Niranjana. So basically invoking Essential Commodities Act right now adds to a series of steps that government has already taken to ensure that there is no black marketing and no hoarding of LPG, specifically at a time when the country is staring at a crisis. All right, viewers, this is what we're looking at. Government of India invoking now Essential Commodities Act to ensure that there is enough and reliable supply of LPG all across the countries. In fact, government has now given orders to refinery to divert key streams as well. So government of India now taking some special steps to mitigate the energy crisis, to prioritize the supply of LPG to domestic consumers, and to ensure that there is no black marketing and no hoarding of the essential energy and gas at this point when country is currently staring at an energy crisis. So this is the latest, viewers, what we're picking up. Government, in fact, has now highlighted some priority sectors and regarding their supply. All right, viewers, now slipping into a short commercial break, but coming up on the other